Hey friends, it's Memorial Day weekend, so I thought I'd dust off some learning from the Army and apply a new lens to it. On my first day as an infantry platoon leader, I sat through a long planning session led by our commanding officer. Our unit was headed to the National Training Center in the Mojave Desert, which was a pinnacle training event for an infantry unit. And as he walked through the progression of all the events leading up to the major exercise, he then mentioned, oh, by the way, we need to do weapons skill training. Let's add a day next week in the field to do that. My platoon sergeant kicked me, subtly but hard, under the table. I blinked and looked up from the calendar I had been reviewing. I said, hey sir, actually the standard doesn't require that we do that in the field, right? Let's just do it in the motor pool. That way the troops can have one more night at home. Ultimately, the commanding officer agreed, and my platoon sergeant and I were off to a great start. And why was that? As an Army officer, I did not have control over the soldiers' pay, and I had only marginal ability to impact their promotion rate. But I did have decent control over their time. And I have been taught to train to the standard, not to the time. I've been thinking a lot about that, time versus results, as we move through the pandemic period. So how did we get here? In the early 1920s, Henry Ford enacted a 40-hour work week for his factory workers and then later for his office workers. That was significantly less time than was happening in the industry. It wasn't until 1940 that the U.S. government revised the Fair Labor Standards Act and essentially codified the 40-hour work week. And since 1940, we've been trundling along with this idea, which was created during the Second Industrial Revolution for factory workers. Is it time to rethink our standard work week? Let's look at the historic parallels. In the 1920s, we were going through a work revolution, and then on Black Tuesday, October 29th, 1929, tragedy struck. The U.S. market tumbled, and that led to a global recession. Fast forward 100 years. We're in the fourth industrial revolution, powered by AI, big data, and cloud, and now tragedy has struck us. Most of you are watching this video as you work from home. And I think the phrase work from home itself is just a bit odd. Let's just call it what it is, which is work. But let's keep in mind that, like we used to do when we went to a local restaurant, a grocery store, or a dry cleaner, that our work lives and our family are intertwined. And let's be more relaxed about what that means for the work week. So coming full circle, when we finished our exercise at the National Training Center, we were dusty and dirty, and we all headed home. Why? Because the commanding officer put us all on block leave, essentially saying everyone needs to go home for 2 weeks and don't come back until you're refreshed. Is that the right solution in today's environment? I'm not sure. But I do think that we need to take a look at how we consider results versus time. And we should think about training and performing to the results rather than training to the time. I'd love to hear your good, bad ideas on this topic. As always, stay safe out there, or as we used to say in the Army, keep your head down. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.